For the first 4 days, first thing I'm going to be doing is going over a really, really basic but super, super key principle and mental belief, pretty much, that you have to do well in sales at all. This is specifically going to be geared towards door-to-door, but it's effective for any kind of sale. So the principle here for today is this. Closing is a service. Closing is a service. So here's what that means. Even when you're not in a deal, doing documentation, doing paperwork, actually moving the project forward, for example, and getting like documents signed, you still have to close. Closing is this. It's not just getting a bill or just getting somebody to complete documentation or to move through with the next steps, right? Closing is when there is a decision made. Decision. So, some examples in door-to-door of decisions that have to be made. Am I going to spend any more time with this person at my door, or am I going to shut it in their face, right? That's decision number one. Decision number two, am I going to give them information? Could be a utility bill, could be contact information, could be, hey, I'm going to be here at 6 tonight, like even the smallest things. It's a decision to give you information. So, this decision comes from the homeowner, and over the next, or the customer, right? Over the next 3-4 days, I'm going to return to this idea. But when we talk about closing, you are responsible for bringing the customer to a decision. Not just willy-nilly being there, right? Not just trying to get a number on the board, but bringing them to a decision. And it just so turns out that the more time you take from somebody without them making a decision, the more of your time and their time you're wasting. So what happens is when we're in sales, we think that if we spend a bunch of time giving information, that we'll get somewhere. That somehow they'll see, oh, okay, this is good information. I guess maybe I'll get you my bill, or here's my contact information, or let's set up an appointment, or let's do it right now, whatever it is. The customer is not going to be the person to do that. You are responsible for closing, for bringing on the decision. That's what closing is. And closing is a service. We talked about it yesterday, kind of after the first meeting we had. But the reason that closing is a service is that if you're not closing, if you're not getting their bill, bringing them to the next step, you're just kind of dilly-dallying back and forth, and you're not really getting anywhere. So even if you're just knocking the door for this blitz and you aren't sitting in and closing a deal, you're still closing. You're closing on the bill. You're closing on the information. You're closing on them having trust in you. Does that make sense? You with me? Okay? So really, really important to understand that. The reason that closing is a service, this is a mentality. If you believe that when you go up and you knock on somebody's door, or you cold call them, or whatever it is, that you're bothering them, that you're interrupting them, that they have more important things to do, you might feel, especially if you're new in this, you might feel like a little lump in your chest, right? When you knock that first door, or even veterans, like first 2, 3, 4, 5 doors, you can feel it a little bit, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to earn their business. And in order to earn their business, I'm telling you, you have to understand that you being there, knocking on their door, presenting to them, using your time and their time is a service. Because when they make a decision, there's a gap between where they're at now, whatever product it is, and where they can be. That gap is closed by them making the decision. And if they don't make that decision, they don't get the benefits of coming to point B, right? They're here now, this is where we want them to go. So by you showing up, knocking their door, presenting, telling them what's going on, you are serving them. You're not bothering them. You're not, being embarrassing, right? You don't have to worry about them judging you. They will. But because you know in your mind that closing is a service, because you believe that, your confidence, your conviction, and how you feel no matter the outcome of the presentation is going to be at its all-time high. And if your conviction and your confidence are at their all-time high, guess what's going to happen? You're going to close a lot more, right? And they're going to make more decisions with you. So that's why this is the first step. You have to understand that by you being there and by you preparing yourself like we do in these trainings and showing up to the customer, you are doing them a service. And if you believe that, you won't have to be worried about how they react or what the outcome is, because you know that you are doing them a what? Service.